No.
Good evening, everyone. We have a public hearing
now.
this evening. The time is 6:20, and I would like to convene that public hearing to give the public the opportunity to comment regarding the City of Chardon's proposed text amendment to the Planning and Zoning Code, specifically Section 1133.11, accessory uses and structures, and Section 1103.03 to amend the definition of livestock. And our law director is going to take us through a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will in a minute. I've got to find my, my memo on the topic so I can appropriately advise the public on it. Stand by. Ah, it's with the legislation. Here we go. Working on it. Here we are. So, so the public is aware this legislation was originally created out of the legislative committee's meetings with the community development administrator, myself, which resulted in a number of changes to two different provisions of the codified ordinances. The first is in the chapter 505.08. It regulates nuisance conditions and provides a broader definition for the type of animals that are prohibited from being kept within the jurisdiction in a nuisance state within 50 feet of a dwelling house, or allowing for the emanation of noxious odors to pass from the property line. It also established specific regulations governing bees and how bees can be kept or harbored within the jurisdiction. And then in your planning and zoning code, which is the purpose for the public hearing, we establish a number of different types of structures that animals and fowl can be kept in: animal housing structures, animal runs, livestock structures, and beehives, and articulate specific locations within the property where those structures can be kept. So front, side, and rear, and the prohibitions related thereto. And then lastly, there is a definition of livestock, which is added to our planning and zoning code. The process tonight is going to involve, after this public comment, should anyone choose to comment, council can take those comments under consideration. During the new business, there will be an announcement of decision that council will vote to adopt. Thereafter, if council does choose to adopt the announcement of decision, the legislation will be numbered and read, and then if passed, it will become law.
I'll open this up to the public. If anyone would like to comment, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. Going through the definition of livestock, I had a little bit of a confusing issue there with the term Jack and Janet. Did anybody see that in the livestock definition? Does anybody know what a jack or a genet is?
Is there a type of rabbit?
A type of rabbit? That's close, but wrong.
Goats?
Goats? No, not a goat. Who said goat? Andy?
I did. Yes, ChatGPT here.
If all else fails.
Well, a jack is a male donkey and a genet is a female donkey. However, genet could also be a Spanish small horse. So why they have the same name for both, but.
Now I really feel like an ass. Sorry.
You'll find out.
You're all right, Jerry.
All right, we have no comments, so we're going to close this public hearing and proceed immediately into our council meeting. So the time is 6:24, and I would like to call this regular session of Chardon City Council to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Blackley?
Here?
Mrs. Chuha? Here. Mr. Grau?
Here.
Mr. Lowco?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Ms. Means?
Here.
Mr. Molesky.
Here. Before moving on to approval of minutes, I would like to thank the voters for re-electing me to the position of mayor and also re-electing Councilmans Blackley, Lelko, and Molesky to their council positions. We greatly appreciate it, and it's good to have the whole team back up in full order. Also, before we move on, we have a couple of guests here from the county. We have Gina Hofstetter back there. We have Amy Bevan, the county administrator, and Steve Yaney is also a county employee back there. So welcome to all of you. And Sylvia's here too. So. Okay, we'll move on to approval of minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes from October 9th, 2025? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved. Second?
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Blackley.
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha.
Yes.
Mr. Grau.
Yes.
Mr.
Abstain.
Mr. Loko.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Means.
Yes.
Mr. Molesky.
Yes.
I also forgot one other thank you, and that is to Councilman Means for filling in as mayor during my absence last month.
If I could make a comment, I think everyone should take a look at the minutes and note the time we left that night.
Dave,
You're welcome.
appreciate that. Speedy. We were very, very efficient.
We'll keep that in mind.
I had to do that, Chris, I'm sorry, man.
Amy didn't come up for air, let's put it that way.
That, she kept me on my toes, for sure.
Well, thank you, Heather, very much.
Welcome.
All right, we'll move on to the manager's report. Welcome, Ben.
Good evening. Thank you all. And I know I have a lot, but it all just sort of came together for this month, and in the interest of time, I will try to be speedy. So, staffing, Jonathan Holliday has accepted the position of Community Development Administrator, and his first day will be next Monday, November 17th, 2025. Reed Morrison will be returning to the Water Wastewater Department. His first day is also November 17th, 2025. And that leaves the city currently with now 3, since the time I wrote this, 3 openings. 2 maintenance workers, 1 in streets, 1 in lands and buildings, and 1 part-time maintenance worker in parks and recreation. Moving on to 2026 budget, all budget requests have been finalized. We're now in the final stages of preparing a temporary budget for submission to council. And I have just the new stuff to go over with you quickly for the 2026 budget. So first is to start a biannual community survey program. This will be conducted every even-numbered year and would help us capture resident satisfaction information and create a longitudinal study of data for us to use. The estimated cost is less than $500 in each year that it runs, and an attached draft survey that I threw together very quickly and is not final is attached for your reference, just for information. Second is a robotic lawnmower for the pool. So Parks and Recreation has requested a robotic lawnmower that can cut the grass at the pool inside of the fenced area at night. It will be scheduled to run only while the pool is closed, and this will allow us to have the pool open longer instead of needing to periodically on days have the pool closed for park staff to mow and weed whack during daylight hours. And then finally, there's a staffing item that I would like to request respectfully to discuss with council in executive session later this evening. Okay.
Ben, before you move on to the next section here, on the draft of the survey, what do you want from council on that?
At this point, I don't really need any feedback. Just after I did a preliminary manager's report, some council members asked for an example of what it would look like. So what's in your packet is essentially based off of a similar survey program I did in my previous community. Everything above the dark black line on that page would be recurring questions we ask every year, and then everything below the dark black line on the second page would be whatever questions city leadership wants to ask that cycle. So that's where we could change things based on what's going on in the city.
So Ben, is your plan is to mail this to the residents of Chardon?
So we already have included in our existing OpenGov suite software to do it electronically, but then what I found is it's much more successful if we also insert it into the water bill.
Okay. Will there be a return envelope with that, or just, it'll be up to the individual to?
Not as I've currently proposed it, but if council so chooses, I would try to encourage people to do it online, because then that saves us staff time of having to type in their answers online.
So could they also throw it in the box for the water payment?
Yeah, they could bring it back
Something
in
like that.
person as well. They wouldn't have to mail it. So they could put it in the Dropbox, they could walk it into City Hall, however they prefer to return it to us.
So I did have one. On your question 8, in your opinion, do you receive good value for the city taxes you pay? I'm not sure like how either a yes or no answer gives you any kind of benchmark for like measurement. Like it feels like a lot of people are gonna say no. And like how does that, like how do you use that information, or even a yes to, I mean, yes or no opinion? Like how do you, that's so broad. I'm just curious about that particular question.
It is broad. It's really a sentiment question, and where that question really becomes useful is after repeated asking. So after you've done several cycles and you see, do people consistently feel they're getting the same value? Do they feel their value's increasing? Do they feel their value's decreasing? We asked a similar question in 2018. I don't know if you all remember the survey we did Chardon did in 2018. Had a very similar question on it.
And what was the responses on that? What did we get?
For that question?
For good
Or
value.
how many people responded?
300?
I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to,
You'll remember
it up.
that questionnaire was a totally different focus than what's being proposed here. If you'll remember, that one was some national group put that out, and I can't remember what it cost us, but it was expensive. And it was more interested in how do the residents of Chardon feel about their community in relation to how other residents in other towns feel about theirs. It was not as focused on Chardon as this one is. We were able to add just a couple of questions pertinent, really pertinent to us, which to me are the only ones that are of much value, quite frankly. If I remember correctly, and I don't know how many, were we all on council then?
No.
This was 2017, 2018. We used it to support going out for a single trash hauler, if you'll remember that. And we also discovered that the public wasn't as aware of the police, or mainly the fire, but somewhat the police, some of the extra services we provide. And those are the two things that I remember coming out of that survey. Other than that, I don't know if it was utilized much at all, quite frankly. I have a number of questions on this questionnaire, but I don't think tonight, we got plenty else going on.
and my intent wasn't for this example to be final. I just
Right.
gave you an example.
So are we as a group going to sit down and review this and add or delete or whatever the case may be?
Council would ultimately approve whatever survey is sent out, yes.
Okay, but how are we gonna get to that point?
I think we need to set up when we need to have it compiled and come up with a runway to figure out how many reviews we need to get there and kind of have a date. Does that make sense to you, Ben?
Yeah, this would be a process next year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, are we looking at one per household? Or are you looking at two per household? Or what's-
every adult over the age of 18 would be permitted to send in a response.
So we can look as a group to get together sometime next year and,
Yes,
okay.
we'll do that.
The website content refresh has been completed, which is what we have on the lovely screen for you all. Reminder, the branding didn't change, just the structure of the content on the website. So we now have 4 main simplified areas. First is government, where you can find every department, board, and commission information about city leadership. Next is services, so information about signing up for, participating in, paying for, all the various things we offer residents. So water, sewer, trash, natural gas, electric aggregation, those sorts of fun things. Living and visiting, so community information for residents, for visitors, for businesses. Eventually, we will have 1 page for every park. That's one of my final notes here. And also the economic development incentive programs we offer. And then finally, how do I? So how do I pay for, apply for, contact XYZ? Helpful links to find what you're looking for quickly. The remaining outstanding things to be finished are, as I said, primarily parks and recreation pages. We had just 1 page for parks and rec, but we're working on having 1 page for each park, as well as, I guess they're hidden now because I'm not logged in, but we have 4 draft additional recreation pages about aquatics and sports leagues and adult programs to give people more information. But those are all brand new content and are still being worked on and will be finished over the summer, or winter, sorry.
We track usage of our website, number of hits and so on.
We can, so Civic Plus ties into Google Analytics. I have not yet set up that tie-in, but we have the capability and it is on my list to do. All right. Citizen Services Portal in the 2025 capital improvement plan included funds for technology improvements. Prior to my arrival, those funds had not been spent. So after doing a lot of listening and going through a competitive quoting process, I've decided to move forward with a citizen services portal and for a vendor continue our partnership with OpenGov. This would allow residents, businesses, developers to apply, pay for, receive approval, feedbacks, be emailed documents for a whole bunch of things that the city offers. We have a list of 38 processes that we've identified so far in your packets, all through one centralized system that will also let them see in real time the status of their request. So who is it waiting on? Why is it waiting on them? Those sorts of things. I've been involved in lots of email chains about, oh, well, where do I submit this? Who do I email this to? How do I know what my fees are? And this would answer all of those questions for people. Now, this wouldn't entirely replace paper walk-in. If you prefer to fill out a piece of paper and hand it to us, you can still fill out a piece of paper and hand it to us. If you prefer to walk up to the counter, you can still walk up to the counter.
Well, quite a number of things would still require an actual physical submission. I'm thinking of site plans or drawings of whatever, what the sign is going to look like, things of that nature. Are they going to be able to upload?
Yeah, so they can
Yes, to-
upload their PDFs straight through this portal, and we can print. Very similar to the car dealership planning commission had. Quite recently, we received all of their submissions digitally and then printed copies for planning commission.
So Ben, that is not a branch under the city website. Is this a different
It
platform?
is a different platform, but we'll set it up to rest within the city's website.
So it's a software as a service to enhance what we're doing.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we have a kickoff meeting next week with implementation hopefully to begin December 1st. It will not start the SAAS contract until 2027. Our initial term is 13 months, so it carries us all the way through 2026. So our next payment will be 2027. Okay. The city's current single hauler trash contract expires in June 2026. Pursuant to my authority under Ordinance 127.05C, we have begun compiling the bid packet for renewal or replacement of the contract. Currently, I'm hoping to have that bid posted on December 1st with submissions due January 31st, 2026 to give council plenty of time to award a contract well in advance of the expiration of that current contract. Okay, our next item, on October 16th, I received a letter from the county requesting that we, by November 17th, inform the county whether or not we would seek tax increases as a result of the county enacting local versions of the homestead and owner occupancy tax credits. That letter, as well as the estimate documents, are included in your packet. For simplicity of numbers, I have rounded everything to the nearest thousand. But we'd be looking at approximately $50,000 of foregone revenue, $13,000 inside millage, $1,500 police pension, $4,500 police operating, and $31,000 fire operating. I don't think Mark and I would ever jump to suggest to you all that we voluntarily forego revenue. But our biggest risk, the FD operating, will be up for renewal very shortly because it's only a 3-year cycle. And that renewal will essentially render that issue moot because when we renew, it will recalculate, including these credits in that calculation. So really what we're looking at is the inside millage and the 2 PD operatings as our potential long-term losses. And they are small enough that they could be sustainable.
These are annual losses,
To be every year, yes. I guess I'm looking for a general discussion and how you'd like me to respond to the county. It's also a small enough dollar amount that I'm not sure it would be worth attempting a levy to replace it.
If I could ask Amy a question, since you're here.
Sure.
I know the county's going to, I assume all the townships, villages, districts, all that. You're gonna gather their input and then what?
Amy, would you mind coming on? Thank you very much.
Sure. What's that? Oh, yes, so we received equally the notification from, so Amy B. Van, Chardon County Administrator. So we received also the memo from Commissioner Brakey and Auditor Walter. So you're right, I think what is going to happen, without speaking to either of them directly about the task force, we were also on the receiving end of the invitation. So my understanding, at least within the county commissioners, is that like the information that's under the hiring authority for the commissioners is going to be pulled together and then considered at the commissioner level by the board. And then we are also part of that task force that's going to show up. The meeting is in our building, and we're also members of that task force. So at least from our standpoint, each of our directors are doing that assessment from their vantage point, and then they're going to funnel it to us, and then the board of commissioners will have a discussion on potential impacts based on director input.
But then is the county sending input to the state?
I am not privy to that level of detail, and like I said, we were on the receiving end of that memo as well, so I just don't have any additional information beyond what coordination is going on between, let's say, Commissioner Brakey representing the commissioners and Auditor Walter. I do not have a deeper understanding of where the information, how it's going to be presented beyond that level. questions.
Go ahead.
No, it's not for you, so is the loss then 19,000?
Thank you, Amy.
Sure.
Is that what you're saying? You said 50, but you're saying that it would be the inside millage and the PDs?
Yeah, I'm saying the 31,000 for fire will be moot when we do our next renewal for the fire levy.
So the question is, do we want to do this for 19, for the remainder? In theory, right? I mean.
Yeah, so
in essence.
the specific question we were asked in the letter was, would we seek tax increases to offset the loss? I think the implied but not explicit question of the letter is, would we support the county enacting expanded owner occupancy and homestead credits?
I think it's in our best interest, as Ben and I spoke of this last week, with the undercurrent of property tax relief being very strong out there right now across the state, that we stay hold, or keep fast on the acceptance of these losses as we move into future requests for additional funds. If we opposed it at this point, I think that would make our positioning much more difficult moving forward with the public. And what I would want Ben to do is just author a letter explaining our position on that, and have him send that directly to the county commissioners and to Chuck Walder.
Because I understand, the way, if you read the letter from Commissioner and the auditor, it looks like, this is still House Bill 96, which is still being considered. So nothing is official. So it sounded to me like the county was trying to get an idea from all of us in Geauga County, how do we view House Bill 96?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
It's a fact-finding mission right now, really gathering information and the facts and the impact. Obviously, the schools have come forward immediately, with their letter or their, numbers and stats, but yeah, it's definitely a starting point, because like you said, House Bill 96 is not done yet. So.
If you had a chance to review who is eligible for these different tax reliefs, clearly the senior population is really in play on both these measures.
And I think this is a lot of a result of those reappraisals. And the seniors took that especially hard. Especially those who are retired and don't have that income coming
fixed
in,
income,
that can handle that kind of increase. So,
I do think that the correct measure is to have Ben author a letter stating that we are in acceptance of the loss at this point, unless anybody thinks otherwise.
I support that.
I think we should say that, but we also might also put in there that we're not particularly pleased that, even though, we should, I think it ought to be, the language should be there that we accept it, but we're not happy about it.
Yeah, there is an impact, even if we're willing to absorb it, so
Right.
agreed with Andy.
Understood.
All right.
We need a motion on that?
You feel as if you have clear direction?
I do.
Very good.
Not explicitly on my report, but related to this, since I wrote my report, I received an invitation, as County Administrator alluded to participate in the county's property tax task force. They are seeking representatives of local entities to participate in planning for, if the referendum to eliminate all property taxes is successful, how will the public entities of the county collectively respond? So I have accepted my invitation to participate in that on behalf of the city. All right, capital projects. The Pocket Park, we did receive an initial preliminary design and cost estimate. Not entirely unexpected, the cost did outpace the anticipated available funding. So we're working to reduce that scope to better match our available resources before we then bring something to Parks and Rec and Planning Commission. We don't want to bring something that is, we then have to come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, none of this is achievable, but thank you for your input. And then for the next four, I will turn over to Justin for his first council meeting to talk about Public Works capital project.
I did not know that was coming, so thank you for that. Yes, so the state route resurfacing punch list is being worked on. It was, the main concern was water valves that were covered over or had debris in them, and that should be finished up today or tomorrow. Some additional items in the punch list is still being cleaned up. I was not prepared to talk on the sidewalk program. That is one of the things that I am still researching. It has been 3 weeks of discovery since being on the job. It's been a good discovery, but there's a lot to learn. So punch list items being completed, the maintenance program work is complete, and yeah, the North Street traffic signal final design, and then to bid this winter.
All right, so Andy, you had sent, this is back to the job that was done in the spring with cats.
Yes.
And so you had said that they still have quite a few things to do on the punch list, yes?
They have cleaned up their punch list. The initial punch list is complete. We indicated that they had a handful of sidewalk blocks to replace because of footprints. That was something Mr. Blackley brought up. And Leroy and I went out and checked them and gave them the addresses, and as far as I know, they haven't done that part yet.
They have not done anything. I did see a Cat's utility truck parked out there last week, so I mean, they've been looking at it.
Okay.
Is this
They don't do anything until the springtime.
Right.
normal to have so many things on the punch list?
It can be.
These are, footprints, somebody, a young man was seen walking purposely on the wet concrete.
Yeah.
Could not have hurt some of the work that they did.
Well, it did, but yeah, so at any rate, they have a duty to protect their work until the concrete is set up.
Correct.
And cannot be damaged. They fail to do that, so they're liable for replacement.
Got it, okay. So it's possible it might not be done till spring,
That's correct.
okay.
Long sidewalk program. Upcoming events, Veterans Day ceremony was on 11/11 at 11 a.m. in the bandstand. There was a wonderful article in the Maple Leaf about how they persevered through our short blitz of winter there on Veterans Day. Not on my list, but given to me after I wrote this, on 11/15 is Can the Cruiser with Chardon PD and Geauga County Sheriff and State House. Thank you. And the Walmart parking lot beginning at 9 a.m., I believe.
Yes, sir. 9 to 12 will be there.
Thank you. Bring your donations.
What is that event?
Can the Cruiser. So it's a partnership with the State Patrol and the Sheriff's Office. So we'll have the Sheriff's Office's big long trailer up there, and what we do is we give a list of items to people going into the store that might be valuable for the food pantry. And while they're shopping, then when they come out, they'll deposit those things in the trailer, and then we'll summarily deliver them, and they'll be dispersed to the food pantries.
Chief,
So it's a good program.
Is it on the board? Can you get it on the board?
I'll check. I'm not sure. I believe it may be.
And then the list,
Please.
can we put the list up on our Facebook page or something?
Absolutely.
So that people can,
Yeah, for sure.
So you could buy things at other stores, I assume, and bring
Yeah,
them.
just drop them off to us, yeah.
That's on the 15th at what time again?
9 to 12.
Yep, Saturday.
On Thanksgiving Day, starting at 8:30 a.m. is our traditional turkey trot to benefit human trafficking victims. If you are bold enough to take part in what is likely to be a cold marathon this winter, packet pickup will be Wednesday, November 26th at 5 to 7 p.m. at the Heritage House. The annual Christmas lighting of the square will be on the 29th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. That coincides with Small Business Saturday, so why not take the opportunity to walk the square and patronize a small business, and then stay and join the city and the Square Association for our annual lighting. Also not on my list, told to me after I wrote this, on December 13th, 2025 is the annual Home for the Holidays event. Also Chardon Square Association, I believe. Thank you, Sylvia. And then finally, on December 18th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at our very own historic Geauga Theater, all I want for Christmas is to meet the new city manager. I'll be having a Meet the Manager public forum where people can just come and ask me questions about myself. And people are also welcome to submit questions ahead of time on the city's website. If they'd like to be nice and give me time to prepare an answer. From the departments, our 2024 audit report was released on October 20th and is available to be viewed by the public through the Auditor of State's audit search portal, as is all of our annual audits. Lands and buildings, we had a plumbing incident in the theater on the 18th, causing the closure of the women's restroom. The issue has been repaired and the bathroom is back to functioning as normal. The ultimate cause of the issue was determined to be scale buildup in the sewer lateral of the building, which has now been taken care of. From Parks and Recreation, the Hometown Heroes banner program, due to popularity and in honor of America 250, will be expanded to add an additional 30 banners on South Street next year. The South Street banners will be round 3 of this program. So round 1 was Water Street, round 2 was Center Street. And they will have their initial 2-year term be 2026 to 2027. Banners for South Street as well as Water Street infill will officially open for sale tomorrow, November 14th, 2025. There is no price increase for round 3, so same price as the previous 2 rounds. And if you happen to be one of the people with a banner on Water Street, you may have your banner put back up for an additional $100, or you may come pick up your banner at City Hall and take it home with you to keep forever.
And Becky's been reaching out to folks on that and getting inquiries and.
She has already been contacting people about coming and picking up their banners or putting their banners back up. This is one of the things we'd hope to semi-automate through that new portal. Right now, it's a very manual process because we just have phone numbers for people, so she has to call people one by one and get them and tell them their banners are ready. And but people have started picking up. I have seen them walking through the halls picking up their banners. So they are in the process.
A great program. I want to thank Debbie and Andy and Becky and past folks that participated in that initial setup. Hard to believe we're in our 3rd year with that already, but it's talked about in the community all the time, and it really is good. And I look forward to the expansion down South Street, so that'll be well received.
And then my last item is Chardon municipal pool rates. So in accordance with my authority in Codified Ordinance 943.01, I intend to revise municipal pool rates for the 2026 season. The hope is to help the pool be more financially stable and be with us for a longer period of time. The proposed rate schedule is attached for you, but sort of the broad highlights are: the target was to increase the pool's self-funding percentage from 20% to 50%. So right now, revenues from the pool pay for about 20% of the operating costs of the pool. The rate structure has been reconfigured to try and encourage memberships over daily admission. So right now, we're very heavily dependent on daily admission. We're trying to encourage more people to have full season memberships. We tried to maintain competitiveness with comparable facilities, particularly the local YMCA in the city of Mentor. So we made sure that all rates are equal to or less than both of those facilities. And so notable true dollar changes, our daily admission will increase to $10 per person. The couples membership was eliminated as we had less than 10 sales every year for the past number of years. And then the largest rate increases were all for non-resident members. Adam and I discussed these rates at the Park and Recreation Board, which Deb and Kyle may touch on later. We did incorporate some of their changes. Notably, we created a pre-season, post-season incentive, and then the pool has rates for some, Adam calls them classes, so like water aerobics or lap swimming in the morning. And we received the suggestion to make those free to members, and so we took that suggestion. So if you have a membership, you may go to morning lap swim or evening water aerobics with your membership. That's my report.
We're not required to vote on the increases?
He's checking.
Okay.
Because I know there's a limit, a certain amount.
This is below the $300 amount, so the city manager has the authority to establish these rates.
My position is these rate increases are too high, especially for non-residents. We need the non-residents to participate in our activities. And I think this has a very strong chance of backfiring on us. And I don't support the increases. Though I guess I don't have a vote, but.
I think, going back to my original, I think if it was a gradual increase, it'd look more welcoming. Don't the non-residents outnumber the resident participation?
Not currently. Currently, our membership is about 60% resident and 40% non-resident.
I guess I'm looking at the day passes.
The day passes, we don't ask people where they live, so I have no idea
So that's either
whether,
resident or non-resident.
yeah. I do understand that a slow, gradual increase would probably be preferable, but we've sort of missed that boat. So the rates haven't been increased for as long as Adam's been here. And asking Becky, she can't remember them ever being increased in her tenure here. So we're probably looking at somewhere around 10 years since the last rate increase. And so unfortunately that kind of lends itself towards a sudden jump.
I mean, I understand we're doing it for the heater and the swim boards, what are they called? The blocks? Thank you. But if we don't make it in 2026, can Parks and Rec make a loan from the city to gradually pay that back? And have the city advance the
Functionally, Parks and Rec is, at this point, a general fund operation already. It almost never brings in enough to fully support itself, and our transfers to that fund have been steadily increasing. Particularly for the capital items, those always come out of the city's general capital fund, not the recreation fund, so they're already income tax dependent, and we are looking at more than $80,000 in repairs for the pool next year.
I get it.
Well, I was gonna wait for my report, but the reasons for the increase were, increase in the capital expenses, but also the ongoing, like, maintenance with the chemicals, the salaries, just everything else has gotten more expensive. And like you said, the rates have stayed the same, so we wanted to look to do something to offset those costs.
I mean, well, isn't this about also the viability of the pool moving forward? If the pool is this a large financial drain and it's not utilized by a large number of residents overall, it's gotta, how do we reduce that drain? So, I think what will happen, Dave is right, we'll see over this next year what happens. And if we see a big decrease in attendance because of the cost, so.
And then we're gonna need a new liner, so it's just,
I mean, the conversation,
Snowballs.
it's a very expensive thing to have that a very small people in the community actually use, and it's only open for a short period of time anyway. So, it's like an amenity that we offer, but it doesn't even come close to paying for itself, right? I mean, how much does it cost us every year to have the pool and like as a,
Around $200,000 a year, not including capital.
so this is our give back.
it's a huge
Probably
gift.
our big
It is.
give.
It's a huge gift back to a small amount of people. So I'm saying, like, I support the rate increase if that will help decrease that, financial cost.
And that's really the goal. We didn't go for trying to make it fully self-sufficient, because those would be kind of astronomical rates. We tried to just hit a 50% self-funded target, and we did try to prioritize keeping resident rates as stable as possible. So like the resident rate for swim team did not increase. The resident rate for children did not increase. The resident rate for swim lessons did not increase.
How do the rates compare to other pools in the area?
So we set a rule for ourselves that we would be at or below our peers that we looked at. And so we're 60-ish% below all of the YMCA's comparable rates. Menor is much more of a mixed bag of how close or far we are. On some, these new rates would be equal. So for instance, $10 day pass would be the same as the Menor pool. But our memberships are in less. So like our children's passes are 33 and 42% less inside and outside. Our swim lessons are 25% less. Our swim team is 54% less. Before you factor in that you have to have purchased a membership and then also pay swim team on top of that.
Well, it sounds to me like there's room, it hasn't been increased for 10 years. We're still cheaper than the closest available swimming pool at YMCA. I think you ought to boost the number on non-resident daily pass, frankly. I don't know why they get the same, they pay $10 the same as a resident. They ought to pay a little bit more.
I think it's just hard to verify residency when you walk up to the window and say, I want to go into the pool today.
Well, you can still rely on people's honesty to some degree, I suppose.
We could, yes.
I just echo what Debbie said. I'd rather see a gradual increase than such a huge jump at once.
This begs a larger question, which we've touched on before. We really need to have a joint recreation district that covers this, at least the area of the school district. There's going to be issues coming up in the future with availability of baseball diamonds, I believe, and other features that we need to get ahead of. And having a public pool is also part of that equation as well. But
That equation also, we've talked about that, has also been an indoor rec center,
yeah, that's
including a pool.
yeah, that's a huge, huge investment, which I don't think, unless you had a joint district, no way you could possibly support that. Yeah.
And the other, we've talked in including the school too. There'd be a joint
Yeah.
school, some of the townships, whoever.
Well,
We've been down that path a number of years ago, and maybe it's time to revisit it. But
I agree.
We are fortunate that, as should be included in the information on your desk, you'll see from the pool statistics, the programming page, we are consistently seeing increasing interest, and that also carries over for our non-pool programs. to Mr. Blackley's point, what we are starting to run up against is space. So we are losing, I wouldn't say we're losing, but the school district changed its rules around who can use the gyms and when they can use the gyms, and so that has made it less easy for us to use their gyms. And we don't own a gym. We don't have that many baseball diamonds, and some of the surrounding townships are starting to ask us to pay for use of their baseball diamonds for rec programs, and to your point, it will become a conversation probably at some point in the future.
Good to hear.
Is there anything else for Ben? I did want you to reference, we've had quite a few discussions of Redwood Apartments development and so on, and we received a email from their administration to the tune of they are backing out of their direction, correct?
Correct. So the city has been informed by Redwood that they are no longer pursuing a second phase in the city at this time.
Okay, anything else for Ben then? Okay, thank you, Ben. We'll move on to Planning Commission report. Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning Commission met in regular session on October 28th. We had 3 items on the agenda that evening. The first was TD Architects, on behalf of Chardon Local Schools, came for their final development plan for new tennis courts and 31 parking spaces to be located on the property between the football field and the rear of the residences on Chardon Avenue, along what used to be called the Alcan Highway. So that was, after some discussion, and we invited public participation, that was in fact, they were asking a variance for fence height to increase the fence from 6 to 10 feet, which is logical with the tennis court, in order to keep the tennis balls as much as possible within the courts. We also got them to agree to putting up an opaque privacy fence along their property line, along the rear properties that are on North Street and Chardon Avenue. This will both discourage anyone from wandering into a rather large detention basin that's located next to the courts, and also perhaps discourage cut-through traffic, foot traffic between North Street and the football field. So I applaud the school district for their cooperation with the city. As the law director pointed out during the meeting, as a public entity themselves, they need to make a good faith effort to comply with our zoning, but they don't always have to do exactly everything that we demand of them, and they've been very easy to work with, both on this project and on the bus garage as well. So again, I commend their cooperation. You have tonight, we're going to be talking about this later, the draft ordinance for animals within the residential areas, and I won't say anything more about that. And then the last formal case that we had was the Rollin Cook's proposed used car lot at 408 Water Street. We had some discussion, but that eventually was approved. I'm not sure what their schedule for construction is at this point. They still have to submit final construction plans. Doug, have those been submitted?
We have not received them yet.
Okay. So, given that the weather is not going to be amenable to parking lot construction, they may not be doing that till the spring, but.
Correct.
I'm just speculating there. Then we had an informal discussion with a company called Pride One. This company does work very similar to Redwood. They're not Redwood. Some of the principals of this company, I believe, used to work for Redwood, but they're proposing a similar product to the Redwood development. This one, however, would be located on Meadowlands Drive, between Walmart and behind the existing apartment buildings on the west side of of Meadowlands Drive. There's about a 16-acre site there. We gave them some feedback, and we believe that generally speaking, that this is an appropriate development for that area as a multifamily. There's already multifamily zoning in there now. We would be proposing, again, a rental units that would be managed by the company. There would be, you know, they're saying that the rental rate would be on the order of $2,000 a month. They believe that we have the demographics here to support that development. They also would include 2 commercial lots as well. So again, it was an informal discussion. Nothing was approved, but I expect that they will be coming back to Planning Commission with a more formal submission sometime, probably in the near future. That concludes my report.
Andy, is that where that mound of dirt is?
That's where the big mound of dirt is at. They said that was pointed out to them, and they didn't blink an eye about it. They said
Mount Chardon would be gone.
yeah, that's gonna be relocated somewhere else. But Dan, did you have anything you want to add?
I mean, they'd be managing the streets. That would be basically a self-contained thing, similar to the Redwood project
Exactly,
down
yes.
off the 7th Ave, so. You know,
And I think that
higher-end apartments with garage units, possibly some 2-story, depending on the interest there, but yeah, it was an interesting-looking product.
Did they give you a sense of how many they were looking?
They did.
about 100.
I don't have my notes in front of me, but it was
100?
pretty dense.
Wow, okay.
So again, that is gonna depend on how they finally work it out, as to what the
Yeah.
yield would be, but I would expect to be more than 80 for sure.
Andy,
Steve, do you remember how many there were in that?
It was around 100. I think give or take how much dirt they have to move. And yeah, they talked to me before I left, so yeah, it was, but there was a couple outliers, because that's, you recall, the C4 zoning allows multifamily, but it has to be part of a bigger development. So my discussions with them were that they had to keep at least a couple commercial lots if they wanted to be in compliance with that. But yeah, it was, I think that I'd seen a plan that had somewhere between 90, one had like 110, but those were really jammed in there.
It's like Throwback Thursday with Steve here.
Thank you, Steve.
Andy, on the tennis courts, are those lit?
No,
That's a good
No.
question.
no, they are not going to be, not intended to be used at nighttime.
But they're
The
gonna run
park-
conduit in case of future development as
Well,
such.
Yeah. But,
Tennis course instead of pickleball? That doesn't feel very much like. with the
Pickleball
time.
would be at the old
Pickleball, I
course.
don't think there are any pickleball being done at the high school level.
Same.
They did mention taking the old courts and transferring them to Beeline for pickleball, if I recall.
Yes.
They are considered, they've since contacted the zoning office to have preliminary talks about turning them into pickleball courts.
The old courts?
Yes.
There you go, there's progress.
Was there any opposition to the tennis courts from community members?
So there was concern about people trespassing, basically, either tennis balls trespassing onto their property. Again, people walking, cutting through, taking shortcuts through their property. And that, you know, I think when it was explained to them that it was not gonna be lit at nighttime, that it was only gonna be used, you know, during similar, you know, right now they hold practice sessions for football, mini football and things like that there. So these tennis courts would be used in sort of a similar time frame in the early evening after school. So they're really not gonna be any greater noise disturbance, I think, than what they're accustomed to now.
Open to the public then during the summer? Similar to what we experienced down,
I don't have an answer for that.
I think they do intend to have them open to the public when it's not in use for the school.
Thank you, guys.
okay, are there any other questions for Andy? Thank you, Andy. We'll move on to council committee reports with Park and Rec Board. Kyle?
Thank you, Mayor. Parks and Recreation Board met Tuesday, October 28th as well. Items discussed were the facilities. Mel Harder Park is being prepped for the winter season. The murals at the pump station have been completed. That is right next to Park Avenue Trailhead of the Highlands Trail. As far as programs, travel basketball is underway, has 4 boys teams and 2 girls teams. Adult basketball is also in session. The dog training class has started at the chalet, and the first session is fully booked. And most bands for the Friday night concert series have been booked for next summer. And as far as city manager addressed the pool pricing changes, the Pocket Park project, and also he mentioned the job openings in Park and Rec, or the job opening in Park and Rec. So, and that concludes my report.
When will the last concert be held, you know? Next August? or
I
something?
don't have the date in front of me, but did we discuss that another group wants to pay to have potentially 2 more bands play?
Chardon Square Association may add, but that to be determined.
To be determined, hasn't been, that's just an informal discussion, right?
It would be nice to have a couple more. It just seemed to end mighty early.
It does.
Well,
Summer's over.
that was within our, right now we have it budgeted for the X amount that we have now. Was it, I can't remember how many, but.
All right, was that it, Kyle?
Yeah, that concluded.
Anybody have any questions for Kyle or Deb? All right, thank you. Hearing of persons before council. Tonight we have Abigail Lashinsky. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Yes. Request use of square for 2026 Chardon Christmas Market. She's with Sylvia McGee.
Benjamin, this is not a bribe, this is to get everybody in the festive mood, okay?
What got going on in there?
Some Christmas trees. It's called reindeer bait. Everyone calls it differently, but it's
I think
Chex
the
Mix.
last time someone offered, sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, we
can't
usually take a
them.
position, we can't do it, because we don't
Yeah.
want to give an appearance of impropriety.
Oh,
Okay.
We want
We'll
to
leave
judge your
them out
Leave them
decision
outside
purely
then.
on the merits of what you've got going on.
But no.
It's okay.
Before they begin on the topic of judging this, just so council understands, they're not, CSA isn't here today looking for their final approval. They just want to talk to you about the event they're planning and get your preliminary feedback. So you don't need to vote tonight to approve or disapprove.
Yeah, Ben,
Sorry.
got the Grinch over there.
Okay, Abigail, go ahead.
November 26th.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Abigail Blashinsky. I'm with the Chardon Square Association, and with me is Sylvia, the president of CSA, and Ed, the VP of CSA. And just a little bit about me. I think we should get started with just getting to know me. You guys probably have no idea who I am. But 2 years ago, I moved back home. I was studying overseas, getting my master's in business management at the University of Edinburgh in Edinburgh, Scotland. And while I was over there, before I moved over there, I was a huge Christmas enthusiast, I would like to say for myself. And while I was over there, I had the privilege of going to Christmas markets, European Christmas markets, over there, and fell in love with the idea, the charm, the tradition it brings to all the communities around them. So that is why I'm here today, is to talk about the potential of having the Chardon Christmas Market here at the Chardon Square. And if you could go to, after introductions, if you could go to the goals section, we're just gonna get right into things. So the goals of this objective that we have here tonight is, 1, we want to create a signature annual event for the Chardon Square. Establish a beloved holiday tradition that brings families, friends, and visitors together for that festive, community-driven experience. A perfect tie as well with Home for the Holidays that you guys are familiar with already. We will tie that into next year as well. We want to support local and regional small businesses in the area, provide a profitable platform for makers, food vendors to showcase and sell their products during the holiday season. Also to note, on the square, all the small businesses right there, that'll be a huge impact for them too, having that Christmas market, that foot traffic and tourism
right there into the square. 3, introduce the European holiday market charm to Northeast Ohio. Deliver an authentic, magical experience inspired by traditional Christmas markets in Germany, Austria, France, etc., complete with decorative huts, festive food, twinkling lights, and holiday music, of course. Number 4, draw regional tourism and increase downtown foot traffic. We want to attract visitors from surrounding towns, counties, maybe other regions. I wouldn't even be surprised if people are coming from out of state, if you're familiar with Christmas markets and that drive that people will make to go to those. Boosting the local economy and encouraging spending at nearby shops, restaurants, and accommodations. Number 5, foster the community engagement and holiday spirit. Offer those meaningful opportunities for families, schools, churches, and community groups to participate through performances, volunteering, festive programming. We're going to be promoting arts, crafts, cultural experiences that celebrate local heritage we have right here. 6, build toward long sustainability and growth. We want to launch with a strong foundation in 2026 and establish this market as a self-sustaining event that can grow in size, duration, and reach in future years. Lastly, we want to raise funds to reinvest in the community. Generate revenue through vendor fees, sponsorships, donors, fundraising to support the future events, beautification efforts, and local charitable causes. Now, if you could go to your next page for me. We're going to talk a little bit about these hut designs. I do have a bigger booklet I brought here today that I'm just going to pass here to Kyle and just go along. I did have a civil engineer work with me directly for these hut renderings. So if you have any questions, please go right ahead on that. But we'll just get into it. I'm just going to go one by one, and if you have any more questions further on, please let me know. But the cover page you see here is just that food and beverage hut. There are going to be 2 potential huts at the market. There's that food and beverage hut, and we see also an open hut concept. An open hut concept would be, let's say, a boutique jeweler going in and wanting that little bit of a shop experience. You do not see it here in the basic open hut concept right here that I drew up, but it would have doors and a lock system. All of these would be locked overnight, and just wanted to make sure that was clear for us. But the food and beverage hut is what we're focusing on this evening. So it goes through a step-by-step process. If you look in your pamphlets that you see here, the loading, and this is special because there's only one company within my research that I've seen this done. It was in Belgium, a company that they used to do foldable hut designs. They don't do that over here as far as I know. But the reason why we're doing the foldable hut concept is for storage and accessibility in the future. So whether if we did not essentially need to get a storage facility, we might know people in the community, aka Ed, that might have the capacity and a barn that has a controlled environment, and these are easily stackable and able to be stored properly, that we would not have to worry about with funding potentially. But going into these steps, as you'll see through the booklet as well, how you bring these to life and how you unfold them and make them into the hut itself. And lastly would be putting that roof on. And then there is a special page in there, the big booklet, well, you'll see a little bit more detail of how these latch together, these walls and everything, and the safety of them. And then if you look a little closely to these hut designs, you do see they are lifted off the grass. Just wanted to make that clear as well. So they would not be fully seated onto the grass at the square. Lastly is the call to action. Once you guys are looking through everything and taking it all in, is looking for the city's support on this process. And we want to, of course, move forward in the planning of this, if possible, and continue on the hard work that we've already been doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Is a couple of quick things. You're talking about this for 2026?
Yes.
Not this year?
Correct.
And how long would this take place over, one weekend, successive weekends?
Absolutely. We're looking into 4 long weekends. Right now, we're looking into a Thursday through Sunday, going in 4 weekends. The last weekend of next year, 2026, would be that Thursday, December 17th through Sunday, December 20th. because I believe Christmas Day and Christmas Eve is a Thursday and Friday of next year. That's why we did the stop at December 20th. So it would start the last weekend, potentially, of November to kick things off with a good celebration.
How does that interact with the holiday lighting?
We would tie it in. We would turn it into our first grand opening. The first day, a Thursday of the Christmas market, we would tie it into the lighting, and we would make it extra beautiful with Christmas markets around.
And what is your organization? Are you a nonprofit? Are you profit? Is there an organization?
We're with the Chardon Square Association.
Yeah, this would be a project
Yes.
funded or supported by the Square Association.
So a few months ago, I pitched to the Chardon Square Association to have this under their name and their support, and it got approved.
And so who pays for the huts? Who, is it rental, for each vendor that's in there?
We'll be seeking donors and sponsorships throughout the process.
I don't know if you, Abigail, how long have you been around Chardon?
2 years.
Oh, 2 years?
2 years.
So, the sensitivity of the square when it comes to holiday, it's a topic that it's been 8, 10 years, we get someone that wants to put up, let's say, one sign, okay? And we struggle with that. So you're coming to us with, you know, huts. And not to diminish the importance of Christmas, because we do love it, and we love how our square looks for the holiday. I'm trying to see how this competes with what we currently do already on the square. When I see additional lighting being placed, and I don't know where that would go. The huts, can't quite get my hands around that one either. The competitive nature, I'm thinking from, and I'd like to hear from Sylvia and Ed on some of this, but if people are going to these huts to buy things for the holiday, then they may not be buying them on the square at our current retail establishments. So I'm just thinking, if I owned a retail that's selling Christmas memorabilia, and now I see people going over there to buy something competitively, then where am I at with that? So,
If it's okay.
Sylvia, yeah, if you would.
Yeah, I can answer
Okay.
that. So there would be a vendor process.
Yes.
We would be very selective in who we would allow to rent the space. As far as competition with the existing businesses, we even see during Arts Fest, it brings in, you know, a few thousand people, and it definitely doesn't compete with any of the existing businesses. If anything, it brings more business. So when we do bring events and different things to the square, it helps all the other businesses, as long as we're mindful of what we're bringing in.
I was at one of these in Germany. I still remember the roasted chestnuts and mulled wine. And just everybody's like bundled up and wandering around, and it was definitely a memorable experience.
It is really exciting when you are actually in that atmosphere. And I feel it when I come to the Chardon Square, like the charm that we have in our community is very rare in itself. And we have the possibility to bring in a beautiful market like this and replicate some of the traditions that all across the world is doing.
So Abigail and I met a couple months ago now, maybe, about this, and I did grill her pretty hard on all kinds of things. Logistics, how things were gonna look, how was, you know, I mean, I'm not kidding, right? I feel like I was pretty thorough. The idea is to try to create a real tradition in Chardon with this market idea, and I think because we haven't ever seen it and there's nothing to compare it to, it's hard to imagine what it could be like. I think what she's looking for right now is, before she, Abigail, and her committee put a lot of time, money, trying to find sponsorship for these huts. This isn't something where money's gonna come out of Chardon Square to pay for it. Your idea is to be completely self-funded through sponsorship. She's not gonna ask the city for money, she's not gonna ask Chardon Square for money. The idea is to create an event, but she's not gonna put all the time and effort into it if she's gonna do that, and then we're gonna say, nope, we will not allow any of these wood huts on the square.
Right.
So this isn't something where these huts are gonna be lined up in rows and it's gonna be jam-packed. And I can certainly imagine the Christmas lighting ceremony being extra special because now there's other things that are part of it. So I think, if I can, the idea is to try to be open to this for us to, it's either like if we're a flat out no, to just tell her so she doesn't waste her time or energy trying to develop this versus us saying, yep, we're still open to it, get some more information, put stuff together and come back. And I think is that a fair summary?
Thank you.
And CSA did meet with Mike and I, and we similarly had a lot of logistics questions. But sort of ended up at the same place of like, okay, we could invest a lot of time solving these logistic questions, but if council's ultimately gonna say no, it's not worth solving those logistic questions right now, so.
Because we were talking about outlets, heat, placement, all of those things. If we have snow, if we don't have snow, how's it gonna tear up the grass, everything, so.
So that's how we
Yeah.
ended up recommending they come tonight and not seek formal approval, but have a conversation with the 7 of you.
Having experienced one, I was really excited when I saw it in the packet. I would love to see that if we could make it happen, because it was definitely one of the more memorable things I did in Germany.
And then Daniel, I mean, Abby, unless you can say, there's nothing comparable around here. Where's one, Columbiana? I mean, I don't think Ogilvy
Christmas
maybe.
in the Woods,
Or
if people are
Christmas in the
familiar.
Woods. There's like
In
nothing around
Columbiana.
here.
But people come from all over for Christmas in the Woods. And I know many people that have been there and it's wonderful. But it's in the woods, nothing matches. The aesthetic would be totally different than what we would be selling to tourism. It would be a great replica that Daniel mentioned in Germany, of the Christmas markets and the tradition. There is no one currently in competition in this area that would be having this. Right now, we're in the lead, and hopefully we continue to be in the lead, and we're the first one to make the big stamp of approval to have this magic around here.
Based on what Heather said,
Yes.
take it, these huts are not going to front sidewalks. They're gonna be, some might, are you talking throughout the square in different locations?
What I was saying is, this isn't gonna just be this row of huts where, right, I mean, and that's something for future, like figure out like placement and how it's gonna look. And what I had said to Abigail was, we start year 1, phase 1, phase 2, whatever. So that's not decided yet exactly where we're gonna go. I think what I'd like to say about this is that we have somebody who's interested in trying to create something special in the square. And rather than just say, nope, because we're afraid of whatever, like, let's give her a chance to put something together. Give her a chance. I mean, trust me, a lot of energy and enthusiasm for it.
Yes.
And I would hate to like knock somebody down who's trying to do something like that could, really bring something special to Chardon.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
And I know that, I had experience in the past when, we did, Chardon tomorrow did Winterfest, and that was always sort of hit or miss depending on the weather, but this seems to be more weatherproof.
Yes,
in
ice
a lot of
sculptures,
ways.
yes.
And it's not just a one-off, one-day event that's gonna be extended over many weekends.
Right.
I think it has a great potential, so I like it.
And Dave, I remember pre-Heather on council coming to ask for the signboard to be put on council. And you were very much the one who grilled me during that time and said, you didn't want it to be like the Kent blue and yellow, really obnoxious. And I said to you, Dave, I promise it'll be tasteful. And it is. So I'm, in the spirit.
Yeah, I was just curious from what you said.
Yeah.
What the general idea is.
Yes.
If I can add, the huts will be uniform in size and design, but the placement, it'll be more sporadic throughout the park.
Like
So it won't be, meandering, right.
And of course, this will all be from Short Court south.
Correct.
We don't own anything.
Right.
That's right.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Go, Brad, go, go. Here he comes.
If everyone else is done.
Oh,
Right.
Well, I guess my first question is, I guess, a broad one. So we're calling it a Christmas, Chardon Christmas market. I guess my first question is, would you, for all 4 weeks, would you be restricting vendors or persons who have access to participate to those who have a Christmas theme or there's a religious we have free exercise and establishment clause issues. So basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but the Constitution says we can't make laws establishing a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So you have rights to use the square just like everyone else. But when I hear that you're going to be on the square for 4 weeks with somewhat permanent structures, I do get some concern, one, that it could be the city, it could be interpreted the city's establishing a religious faith or endorsing one, which might be something we can work through, might not. But it runs into an issue where we would be delegating the right to use the square during that time to the entity or whoever's gonna run it. And if you're going to exclude someone because it's not Christmas themed, or if someone wanted to put in a Hanukkah hut, so to speak, would that be something you would prohibit?
No, it really all just depends on the vendor application process and if it doesn't matter.
Meet the
Yeah,
requirements.
meet the requirements. It has nothing to do with religion, and if we're worried about religion with the word Christmas, that can be easily adjusted.
Okay, because when I hear it has nothing to do about Christmas, but it says Christmas, I
If you
start
want
to get a
all
little.
the word holidays for Christmas, that's
no,
fine.
that's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, we have this delegation issue too, where when we start to look at this as a city, I mean, we take events on a one-off, and we always, I mean, the square is open to whoever wants to use it, and that's certainly the way we'll continue to operate. But a monopoly on the square during the last month of the year, and although it's sometimes viewed as some of our activities are holiday activities, they're really end-of-year activities to celebrate what a great year we've had and looking forward to the year in the future. It's not establishing a particular religion. So we have this challenge of how we're going to address that issue. And I'm not saying, I'm not hearing that we can't work through it, but it is certainly, there's a host of constitutional issues that are implicated there. So separate from us working through that, these huts, how are they going to, is the plan for them to be there for 4 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
So they will not leave the property from after Thursday and Sunday. They will be locked up.
So if I can guess where you're going with this.
You're probably not, but okay.
Oh, well, Mike and I did warn them pretty thoroughly that because of the size and height and permanency of the huts, they will probably trigger state building and zoning codes.
Well, that too.
Oh, that wasn't where you were going.
Well, I was concerned, spaces that people can go into have a tendency to let or cause people to go in them. And sometimes those can be bad people who pull other people into them and do bad things. And that implicates a security concern from, I'm sure the chief can probably weigh in on that more. But I harbor some concern that perhaps could be worked out on the logistics of how the public's gonna be able to kept safe and how these are gonna be secured such that if there's glass in the window and a kid decides to break it, what's gonna happen there? Or if someone decides to take the law director in there and have him shut his mouth during a meeting, they might try to teach me a lesson. So I'd rather that not be the case. So again, another issue that I think we'd have to work out before council can formally act. And then I guess the bigger, or all of that aside, kind of the final issue is the process whereby you select and vet your tenants or whoever's gonna be occupying the hut and your vendors. With the Christmas theme, someone could say, you're not giving me my fair shake at a hut because it's not Christmas themed or because it's themed with some other religious connotation that's separate from ordinary Christmas themes. So we would need to see some pretty clear, content neutral decision-making for how you select your hut folks. And with that, I'll shut up.
No,
So,
that's okay.
I would think though that like any other of the events, like not everything has to be themed. Like somebody might be a jewelry vendor. It's so holiday market, it's just been officially changed. In the Chardon holiday market, like some of the vendors might have t-shirts that they sell, or they might have candles or, you know, soaps and things like that. It's not themed for the holiday. It's sold like our Arts Fest.
Yes.
That's great. I agree, but my concern would be the person who says that, you know, I wanted to hunt because I wanted to sell my Satanist materials, and what's the difference between that and the bangles that the person next to me is offering to sell?
Well, what you're raising is a question like that all of these folks who have juried, or like the shows that are on the square right now, several of the art shows, things are juried. How's that different?
There's not a religious aspect to those.
If it's holiday, is that take that out?
Yes.
In theory, yes. I mean, at a certain point, it's got to pass the smell test, but yes.
Okay. So I guess the question, so some of these things would have to certainly be worked out.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a public accommodation issue, and,
Right.
you know, we'd work through all these different things, but obstacles that I think we could overcome, but I raised them to keep everyone's gears in the right place and moving the right way.
How many huts would you envision
Year
is
one,
successful?
10.
No, because if there's like 50 huts, right?
No, we're not striving to be Bryant Park in New York City, but maybe we can dream on getting 10. Nobody laughed. 10. And then to follow up, Benjamin, with your questions and concerns, there will be no glass on these wooden huts. It'll just be wood. And then with safety concerns, I actually am going over to Europe to do Christmas market research in December. I'm going back to Edinburgh to see some friends, and we'll be going to Vienna and Czech for the Prague markets. And I have thought about reaching out to those markets, and if Benjamin, if safety concerns are very big, of course they are for us, we can ask some of the people that have been in it for generations with their traditions to really see what do they do when those are locked up and they're actually up way longer than what we're going to be doing, which is 4 weeks. Their markets are up much longer, so maybe they will have some really great professional insight over in Europe.
You gotta make that guy happy.
I'm available.
You wanna go overseas?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Road trip.
I don't think we've heard anything that says don't continue to develop more. My concern is still on structures populated on the square, diminishing from our current look that we've been very proud of for a long time. So one weekend is different than a whole month of structures being assembled, and I won't get into where do those go after the event's done, and that's a whole bunch of building to move in and out, but you seem to have
Potentially very deep snow.
well, keeping paths open if they're not directly adjacent to the sidewalk, and so we have other issues like that. But once again, I haven't heard anything that says absolutely not, just continue working for a period of time, and you would need, I would assume you'd need like 6 months notice prior to kicking anything off for next year, right? So we could
Yes.
maybe come back in the spring and.
well, she's gonna need longer than that for sponsorship. So I would say a reasonable time, maybe February, to come back. And with perhaps you could have a kind of a plan for the square, have a little bit more detail about some of this, and then council, why are you smiling? And then you, right? She's gotta have time to find sponsorships for this. Like, this isn't gonna happen in a couple of months. Does that sound fair?
And you'll get into the logistics, as we were just talking about,
Right.
how you're gonna keep those paths open to these huts in the middle of the square in the winter and all that kind of stuff.
And the vendor application process. Correct.
We have started a little bit on that, but I wanted to start with 9 to 10 pages to not spook anyone. But there is more details that will easily be able to be brought in February.
Okay.
Okay,
Do you have a ballpark on what sponsorship would cost for a HUD?
We can tell you in February. Possibly.
And not to nitpick, but one of your dates is off, and
Okay.
that's the first one. Sunday is November 29th,
Thank you.
'cause it's my birthday, so it's.
Happy
Everyone's there,
birthday.
that's the thing.
good catch, Kyle.
Nice, Kyle.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Okay, Abigail, thank you much. Sylvia and Ed, thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing for you, Ed.
And
Remember
then,
who's next year?
Are you leaving those gift bags back there?
yes.
No.
Yes, I
No,
just need to take
sorry,
my
nope.
basket, but I will leave them for you guys.
Benjamin, don't take
Darn.
one.
Do you wanna keep
Less than
those?
25.
Okay. Do you wanna keep those?
That's not necessary. I've got the,
Let me know if you need anything.
All right, is there anyone here from the general
Thanks,
public that would
Abigail.
like to
Thank you.
address council? Steve?
No.
Could I ask someone in the audience a question in case they leave?
Yeah. Go.
Amy. Amy, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I had somebody ask me when the courthouse will be having any type of grand opening or availability for people to come and take a look.
Yeah, so actually right now, we're working on a ribbon cutting, which we're looking at towards the end of January for that. We're still in discussions with the judges and other elected officials on whether or not there's something like a soft opening, and what that exactly looks like. So as of right now, we just have it penciled in. There's been no official invitations or anything like that sent out, so we're still working on it.
Because I think there's gonna be interest in the community, from the
Yes.
general public, just
Very much
to
so.
come in and take a look.
Very much. I think those are some of the discussions that are going on at the elected official level in terms of what does that look like, which will eventually make its way to me for the planning piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Anytime.
All right, there's no one else from the general public. Old business, we have none. New business, we have consideration, announcement of decision for the zoning text amendment regarding the regulation of animals and fowl. And that goes back to Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this will be the second of 3 times you hear me talk about this today. One of the predicates to changing your zoning code is that the council has to adopt an announcement of decision and recommendations for zoning text amendments. So what you have in your packet is a draft announcement of decision that's substantially similar to what the Planning Commission adopted when they reviewed the zoning code amendments, and contains the findings requisite in section 3 for you to move forward with passing the legislation that's also on your agenda for tonight with respect to animals and fowl. A motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Chuha? Yes. Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means? Yes. Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
All right, moving on to agenda 11, legislation. A, would anyone like this ordinance read in its entirety? Hearing none.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Cigna Healthcare for the provision of group medical insurance beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
So moved.
Second.
Move to second and further discussion. Call the question.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Ordinance number 3329, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Cigna Healthcare for the provision of group medical insurance beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 3329, An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Cigna Healthcare for the provision of group medical insurance beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion for the adoption of ordinance number 3329?
So moved.
Second?
Moving to second, and further discussion. At this point, we'll call up Jim Dustin. Jim? And I think your plan is to kind of go through A, B, and C on our.
Sure.
I guess just for simplicity, we'll just cover this first one first, and then we'll vote, and, okay?
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm Jim Dustin, I'm with NFP. My topic won't be interesting in holiday markets, but I am here to talk about health insurance. So, just to kind of give you some background as we have for the last couple of years, this year's been quite different from an insurance perspective. Shopping has been really difficult. If you're not aware, it's been in a number of publications that we've seen around Northeast Ohio. Markets are challenged, I think, primarily for a couple of reasons. One, we're seeing a pretty significant influx of large, high-cost medications and procedures that are costing more. I think more importantly than that, the markets are shifting. If you're not aware, many of the major carriers have lost a fair amount of money in the Medicare and Medicaid markets because they mispriced it. And we think there's some squeeze that's happening in the commercial markets. So that affects you, affects other employers, et cetera. So that made this year a lot more challenging, and candidly, we see that probably through next year as well. So just to kind of give you some prelude. As a result of that, we saw a 25% increase in our healthcare costs, which is not something we've seen here in some time. We, as a result, then went out to market to shop to see what we could find in fully insured markets, level funded markets, et cetera. Really exploring pretty much every opportunity we had to try to reduce that cost. As a result of that, we had a number of competitive offers, the best of which was Medical Mutual as an alternative vendor. They came in at roughly 7.5%. We then, as we instructed, or were instructed by city manager and his team, to go out and see if we could then renegotiate with our existing providers to see if we could get an equivalent or better offer. Cigna, as your long-term provider, decided to match that offer without changing benefits to provide continuity for benefits and to your employees. It was the recommendation of the committee and our recommendation to accept that offer. As a result, costs will increase on the medical plan by 7.7%. I can walk you through those numbers in detail. We have those for you. I thought it was also appropriate to sort of give you a flavor for what historically has been over the last 5 years. You can see that represented in your detail as well. The bottom line is, over the last 5 years, we've seen about a 3.2% increase overall without a change in benefits. That is exceptionally good, candidly. Average increases over these last several years has been probably closer to 5.5 to 6, if you look at it across the board. We do expect, as I said, that's probably going to rise to 8 or 9 over the next couple of years, and that's going to vary for you all based on what conditions exist in the city, and we have some, and how well those are mitigated by the marketing that we're able to do in that process. So I'll pause there. Any questions from an overall perspective of what we see in the market? So as a result, we are recommending on the medical plan that you do renew with Cigna. That represents roughly about $101,000 increase overall. And we can continue on through the dental and the other recommendations as well if you want to pause there.
Have you completed medical?
I have that.
Are there any questions for Jim on medical side? If not, you can call the question.
Mr. Lelko?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes. Okay, moving on to legislation B. Would anyone like this ordinance read in its entirety? Hearing none.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract agreement with Guardian for group dental, vision, and life insurance beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
So moved. Second.
Move to second, further discussion, call the question.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lelko?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Ordinance number 3330, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into contract agreement with Guardian for group dental, vision, and life insurance beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 3330, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract agreement with Guardian for group dental, vision, and life insurance beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion for the adoption of ordinance number 3330?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, further discussion, back to Jim.
Thank you. For those that are not familiar, the city participates in a group pooling arrangement with other public entities for the purchase of their ancillary services. That would be dental, vision, life insurance, et cetera. That pooling arrangement essentially group renews. And if we don't like the increase or we don't like what's happening in the pool from a leverage perspective, we have the option to take that out to market as well. This year, all lines but dental received a 0 increase, and that has been pretty consistent over the last several years. There was a small increase in the dental rates to the tune of 3%, which equates to roughly $1,700 and change annually. We had the opportunity to mitigate that increase if we expanded our offerings to voluntary benefits. In discussing with the management team, we opted not to go down that path at this point in time. We wanted to explore a little further whether or not there was significant enough interest by city employees as to whether or not we offer those. If at some point we do go back during the year and offer those, they will mitigate that increase and remove it. So as of now, we expect to see a $1,700 increase on an annual basis from the dental rates. And I'll pause there.
Are there any questions for Jim on this section here? Call the question.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lelko?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Moving on to C, would anyone like this ordinance read in its entirety? Hearing none.
An ordinance establishing a maximum amount payable for medical and dental insurance for employees of the city of Chardon beginning January 1st, 2026.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lelko?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Ordinance number 3331, an ordinance establishing a maximum amount payable for medical and dental insurance for employees of the city of Chardon beginning January 1st, 2026. Ordinance number 3331, an ordinance establishing a maximum amount payable for medical and dental insurance for employees of the city of Chardon beginning January 1st, 2026.
Is there a motion for the adoption of ordinance 3331?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Jim?
So one last item. As I said, from time to time, the city does look at voluntary benefits. These would be benefits that employees pay for on their own. The city does not pay for them. In some cases, the city would be the collection agent for those premiums and remit those to the carrier of the choosing. As I said, we went down that path with Guardian. At this point, we're tabling that. I'm going to look at that potentially later on in the year. The one benefit that the city chose to offer was pet insurance through the ASPCA. So that will be a new offering for employees effective 1/1 for those that have pets and want to insure them. I can speak to that, especially since I've got 20-year-old dogs and they get sick all the time. It would be great to have. There is no remittal on the part of the city, so this is essentially access to the website. in the ASPCA. Employees can sign up on their own. There's no minimum requirements in terms of number of participants. So this will be part of the new offering come 2026. And that's it.
Just curious, quick, what pets are covered? I mean, is it dogs, cats, and that's it? Or
Dogs and cats primarily. I'm not well versed on whether or not like pet birds are, but I think there's some level of opportunity there. You have to go to the website and primarily just dogs and cats.
Beehives?
That one, I'm gonna say no, but possible.
Be all the buzz.
Be all the buzz. All right, are there any other questions for Jim on this? Call the question, please.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lelko? Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All the buzz. Good one. We'll move on to legislation D. Would anyone like this ordinance read in its entirety? Hearing none.
An ordinance amending section 505.08, section 1103.03, and section 1133.11 of the codified ordinances to regulate animals and fowl in the city of Chardon.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lelko?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Ordinance number 32. An ordinance amending section 505.08, section 1103.03, and section 1133.11 of the codified ordinances to regulate animals and fowls in the city of Chardon. Ordinance number 3332. An ordinance amending section 505.08, section 1103.03, and section 1133.11 of the codified ordinances to regulate animals and fowls in the city of Chardon.
We did that. That's the one we did on business with the motion.
Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay. So we moved and seconded. Call the question.
Just need a motion for adoption first, and then.
Motion carries. We did that. Oh, is there a motion for the adoption of ordinance number 3332?
That's it.
Okay.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Further discussion. This goes to Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the third and final time today, this is the last step in the legislation necessary to regulate animals and fowls in our planning and zoning code and in section 505.08 of the codified ordinances.
Yeah, we've gone over it quite a bit. I guess
Do you want to go over the definitions anymore, Mayor?
I would love to go over the definitions more, but we won't do that. But here's the thing is, until reading this, I know that there's a 50-foot provision of where you can have certain animals, but I didn't even know, are we saying in here that you could actually have livestock if it's 10,
You have
the
the
right
acreage.
distance from,
So I think you're looking at two different provisions you gotta be mindful of. So the first, what I'm assuming you're reading is the nuisance conditions prohibition. And that's not a land use provision, that's a provision that governs how animals that are permitted to be kept, the state in which they are kept. Meaning, as opposed to our planning and zoning regs, which establish, where and how a use is permitted. So separate from the use, there's the manner in which the land is used. I know it sounds similar, but it's different. So the definition you're looking at is the definition for how you're engaging in a lawful use on your property that could turn it into a nuisance use.
Look at number 12 and page
Yeah, that's
2.
clear.
Terrible, sorry.
And then provision F requires 5 acres or more.
So under our zoning code, you wouldn't be able to keep it because it's not a permitted use in
Okay.
most districts.
That's my major concern. The definitions I understand now, Dan, so. good on that.
Excellent.
Glad someone could do it, sorry.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Amy, call the question.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Move on to legislation E. Would anyone like this ordinance read in its entirety? Hearing none.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment of the contract for the services of the C.W. Courtney Company as municipal engineer and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third times?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes. Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Ordinance number 3333, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment of the contract for the services of the C.W. Courtney Company as municipal engineer and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 3333, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment of the contract for the services of the C.W. Courtney Company as municipal engineer and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion for the adoption of ordinance 3333?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, and we're gonna go to city manager Ben Young.
So we did receive a request for an amendment to the contract with the C.W. Courtney company, who is currently our municipal engineer. They are requesting to set rate increases for the next 3 years. And Representative and Principal City Engineer Doug Courtney is here for any more specific questions you may have about what they're requesting. They did not, the rates requested did not seem egregious, in my opinion. And
Try to stay just short of that mark.
and my understanding is there weren't increases from 24 to 25?
That's correct.
Yeah.
There was no increase from 24 to 25.
Well, Doug, we appreciate everything you do for us.
Thank you.
And we can't lose you.
I don't plan to be lost.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Doug, I can't recall. Your contract in general, is it how many years and,
Since 1993.
okay, but I meant, it's in effect,
It's in effect and can be terminated on 30 days' notice from either party.
okay. And then, does it call in there how often you ask for an increase?
It does not.
Doesn't, okay. And again, when did you start?
Courtney Company started in 93, thanks to Mr. Blackley. And I became the engineer in late 98, I believe it was.
Late 99.
Late 99, yeah.
The current version of the contract is from 2006.
Yes, it was rewritten in 2006 to include the retainer portion of the contract, so.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Amy, call the question, please.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome, Doug, thank you. Moving on to legislation F, would anyone like this resolution read in its entirety? Hearing none.
A resolution adopting a cybersecurity policy and program and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third
So
time?
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, further discussion, call the question.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Resolution number 22-25, a resolution adopting a cybersecurity policy and program and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 22-25, a resolution adopting a cybersecurity policy and program and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion for the adoption of Resolution 2225?
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion. Back to City Manager Ben Young.
Thank you. So there's a new state law that requires we adopt a formal cybersecurity policy by January 1st, 2026. As you'll notice in your paperwork and the legislation itself, we actually have two cybersecurity policies. We have one for the city, and then the municipal court uses ADP for their managed IT services provider, and ADP is requiring that all of their managed service clients adopt ADP's cybersecurity policy. So we also have ADP's policy for the court to be adopted as well. The policy as proposed to you meets all 6 of the requirements set forth by the new law, and we were able to draft that with the help of IS Squared. Functionally, how this will be enforced is the resolution in front of you orders the city manager to incorporate the new policy into the employee handbook.
Are there any questions for Ben on this topic?
Are there any requirements in there for us to have to do?
For city council? Not new that you're not already doing, so everyone should already have MFA. All the security protections on your emails are taken care of for you by IS Squared. You don't have to bother with them, and then none of you have, to my knowledge, logins for the city domain computers, so you wouldn't be subject to that, nor are you administrators for any key programs. So really just Duo on your email accounts would be the extent of what council has to comply with. There is a part of the law mandates that should we ever suffer a ransomware attack, I am not allowed to pay a ransom without explicit authorization of council.
I guess more specifically, is there any training requirements for a council member?
You should be receiving, they're called Ningio in your email accounts already. That would be the only required training.
Those short little videos?
Okay.
If you haven't done any, you have them. They're sitting there somewhere to do, because they send them out, I mean, not regularly.
Once a month, I believe.
Once
Yeah.
a month.
I haven't seen any, that's interesting.
I saw
Well-
those and thought it was,
Like spam.
thought it was junk and wouldn't even
So
open it.
in mine, there's like 2 tabs for mine, and one is like focused, and one is, I forget what the other one's called, but other, and they're in the other.
We can turn that off.
So if you go to that second tab, you're gonna see all your Ninjios that you haven't done. So like one day I was doing something else, and I was like, also didn't realize they were sitting there, and so I just was doing them while I was.
There is nothing new that is not already, that IS Squared did not already have in place for us. We were thankfully well positioned to comply with the law already.
All right, any other questions for Ben? Call the question.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes?
Mrs. Juha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lauko?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes. Move on to legislation G. Would anyone like this resolution read in its entirety? Hearing none.
Chris, if we could go back one, do we have to adopt one for the court?
It's the same resolution.
Oh, same resolution does both. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
A resolution adopting the 2025 Geauga County Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the question, please.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes?
Mrs. Juha?
Yes.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Lauko?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes. Motion carries. Number and read, please.
Resolution number 23-25, a resolution adopting the 2025 Geauga County Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 23-25, a resolution adopting the 2025 Geauga County Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion for the adoption of resolution 2325?
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded for the discussion. Ben?
This is something the county has to update every 5 years for the whole county. It's our countywide hazard mitigation plan, and just
The question is, how does this affect the city's emergency management plan?
it works alongside our emergency management plan. So the county's plan is broader, I guess is the best way to put it, of sort of lists where resources are, where they can be mobilized from in the event of an emergency, whereas ours is more specific to how will we respond to XYZ.
There's also, if you, Amy emailed all of this, that plan, and it's, I don't know, 100 pages or something. But the level of detail is unbelievable. They go down through years ago and specific snowfall dates.
Yeah,
And,
it's
you know,
quite
it really is, it's
All
really
the
well done.
Tornadoes, events, and everything, yeah, I did
Yes.
look at it, but, so
So
I just
there-
wondered if there's anything in there that would cause us to make changes in our management plan.
I've been looking at it to see if there's, you know, any specific area. So far, I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I don't see anything that is completely lacking in our plan currently.
Ours is a smaller version of this. It's obviously ours is more aimed at the city of Chardon. There is information in here that's historical, that also, they do some of the same exercise that we did is in the process of developing our EOP as far as the all hazard mitigation. When we did the exercise of how some of these events might affect the city of Chardon, the county does the same thing, only on a larger scale, as far as the events that, how a snowstorm would impact them, a large snowstorm. So some of it's similar, but there is obviously a lot more information in their plan than in ours. So it's definitely a good attachment to our plan.
Something that could be a job for Justin to take on, familiarization. And it kind of ties into both the cybersecurity that we just discussed and natural disasters. What safeguards do we have, first off, to protect our wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant from a cyber attack? Do we have firewalls in place that would prevent outside actors from getting into whatever specific SCADA, whatever, there could be some ancient software technology down there that could be very easily breached. So I'm curious, what's our security, and this could all have to be, I think, confidential to some degree. What are our security protocols for those things? And then as far as emergency backup systems for if we had a collapse of the power grid like we did 15 years ago, if that should happen again, what are our backup power plans? And maybe this already exists, I'm just not familiar with it, at the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant.
I am not familiar enough yet with like the generator systems, but I can tell you on the cybersecurity side, we are in the process of replacing these switches and firewalls at the plants.
Because you read all the time about bad actors from our various adversaries worldwide hacking in to not even to demand ransomware. They don't want to do that. They want to have the ability to disrupt functions when they're doing other things on the other side of the globe in order to throw the entire country off kilter. So it's just something that I'm concerned about.
We discussed the firewall issue, I want to say 12 to 15 months ago, and there was a plan to get that going, so.
Yeah, it started before me. I just
Agreed,
I've
that's why I
inherited the
said 12 to
project, yeah.
15 months ago, so I remember that specifically and decentralizing, and so to that exact point, Andy, because, yeah. But to your point as well, it's like you don't want to also give away all of the paths to get somewhere either, because
Right,
I accept your task and I will update you at the next meeting.
It doesn't be necessary at the next meeting, but,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
just something that,
Next meeting.
I got it.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Call the question, please.
Mrs. Shuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Loco?
Yeah.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
yes.
Mr. Blackley?
yes.
Moving on to legislation H, would anyone like this resolution read in its entirety? Hearing none.
A resolution transferring funds in the city of Chardon Treasury for 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
So moved.
Second.
Moving to second and further discussion. Call the question.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Loco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuha?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Resolution number 24-25, a resolution transferring funds in the city of Chardon Treasury for 2025 and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 24-25, a resolution transferring funds in the city of Chardon Treasury for 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion for the adoption of resolution 24-25?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion with Mark.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. You have before you a resolution to transfer funds. The transfers are needed to maintain positive balances in the city's funds and are included in the budget. In general, most of the transfers reflect the remaining amounts budgeted that were not transferred in April. The two transfers that were budgeted to come from water and sewer operating and to go to water and sewer capital will not be made this year since current 2026 budget projections do not meet the 10% required reserve.
Are there any questions for Mark? Call the question.
Mr. Loco?
Yeah.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes. Moving on to legislation I. Would anyone like this resolution read in its entirety? Hearing none.
A resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2026.
Is there a motion to read this by title only for the second and third time?
So moved.
Second.
Moving to second and further discussion. Call the question.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Loco?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number and read it, please.
Resolution number 25-25, a resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2026. Resolution number 25-25, a resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2026.
Is there a motion for the adoption of resolution 25-25?
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Back to Mark.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This resolution will allow the city to request and receive advance payments of property taxes collected by the county auditor rather than waiting to receive the full allocation when the taxes are collected and finalized by the county auditor. The dates we will receive are included in the resolution.
Are there any questions for Mark? Call the question.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Mr. Molesky?
Yes.
Mr. Blackley?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Loco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes. Going on to agenda item 12, review of expenditures. Kyle and Deb.
We looked them over and they were in order.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Executive session. Do have reason for executive session. To consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or compensation of a public employee or official into executive session. I'd like to invite Amy Day, Corporate Counsel, Ben Young, City Manager, the Law Director, Mark. I don't think we need Mark. Ben, do you think we need Mark?
I would say no, given what I know of what we're gonna discuss, I would say no.
So that's it. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Molesky? Mr. Blackley?
Yes?
Mrs. Chuha?
Yes.
Mr. Groff?
Yes.
Mr. Lowco?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We are in executive session at 8:29.